About a month ago, I asked you guys for any questions that you might have for me. I'm sorry that it's just a little late, but this is the video where I will finally be answering those questions. Starting with the first question, which comes from Tito's Financial Corner. What credit card are you looking to get next and why? Thank you, Tito's. Love your vodka, by the way. But the next card that I am thinking about getting is the Amex Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant card. To be honest, I'm not 100% convinced on getting this card yet because it has a sky-high annual fee of $650. Some benefits and credits that I will use on this card are the $300 dining credit, free 85,000 points night award every year, Marriott Platinum status, and 25 Elite Marriott Night credits. Yes, it has other things such as Priority Pass access, TSA PreCheck / Global Entry credit, and a $100 Marriott Bonvoy property credit for Ritz-Carlton and St. Regis stays. But I won't use any of those benefits from this card. To give you some context, I do have the Amex Hilton Aspire card, but can easily justify that $450 annual fee. However, the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant is a whole different story. So why do I want this card anyway? Pretty much the main reason why I want this card is to experience Marriott Platinum status and potentially Titanium status. Like I mentioned earlier, this card comes with Platinum status, so I could start experiencing the perks that come with it instantly. The bigger challenge though is trying to hit Titanium status. If any of you out there have experienced Titanium status with Marriott, how was it? How is it? Is it that big of a jump from Platinum status? Next, Frank Tefrelak asks, will CSR have a refresh? How would I go about booking an international flight with points and find good deals, etc.? Unfortunately, Frank, I don't know if the CSR will have a refresh anytime soon. I think the last time both Sapphire cards got a major revamp was almost 2 years ago. This is when Chase added a bunch of different reward multipliers and benefits to both cards. Then from there, Chase has added some limited time credit offers on the Sapphire Reserve, like the DoorDash benefit and whatnot. I do hope the CSR will get some sort of refresh or revamp, but I don't think it's gonna come anytime this year or anytime too soon. For your other question, I definitely have more solid answers for that one. If we're talking about Chase points specifically, don't underestimate using your points through the Chase portal. Yes, booking through a third-party portal is not as ideal as booking directly with the airline, but it is so much easier. You just find your flight within Chase, redeem your points, and get an easy 1.25 or 1.5 cents per point redemption value, depending if you have the Sapphire Preferred or Sapphire Reserve. However, if you don't want to use the portal, here is what you should be doing. If skimming through a specific airline's website trying to find the best award flight available isn't your cup of tea, I would recommend using the website point.me. Not only will point.me show you the available award flights and how many miles they cost, but it'll also walk you through the entire process of transferring your credit card points to actually booking your flight. It's probably one of the most simple and straightforward award search tools available. It is, however, a paid service which starts at $12 a month, or you could save a little money by paying $129 a year. But what I would recommend is starting with the $5 starter pass, which gives you access to the website for 24 hours and should be good enough for a single trip. Now we have Mr. Stan, the credit card frog, asking, what are 3 things you dislike about living in Hawaii? Because it seems so awesome to live there. Well, Stan, living in Hawaii is pretty awesome, but just like every other place, there are drawbacks. Don't get me wrong, I'm very fortunate to have been born and raised here, but these are the 3 drawbacks that I have found. The first one is that it is expensive to travel. As many of you know, Hawaii is a group of islands that are just stranded in the middle of the largest ocean in the world. California is over 2,000 miles from us, which is about a 5-hour flight from here, and Japan is on the other side and is about 4,000 miles away, or a 7-hour flight. For example, just to get to LAX, it would be on average around $500 to $600, and if I wanted to get to New York, that would be around $800 to $1,000. Whereas if I lived in LA and flew to New York from there, that would be only around $400 to $500. That means you could fly all the way across the country from the West Coast to the East Coast for cheaper than what I have to pay just to get to the edge of the continental US. This of course also carries over to when we order stuff online. You could order something online and receive it in the same day or the next day when you live in the continental US. Then for us in Hawaii, that same thing ordered online will take 3+ days. Also, we have to actually pay for shipping a lot of the time unless it's something like from Amazon, Apple, etc. This ties to the second thing I dislike about Hawaii, which is how expensive it is to live here. As I mentioned earlier, Hawaii is out in the middle of nowhere. That means almost everything we use here has come either from a boat or a plane. Because of that, us consumers have to help pay for that shipping cost. That then leads to things like a gallon of milk sometimes being close to $10. Our gas prices are also expensive, and don't get me started on how home prices are here. Then the last thing I dislike about Hawaii is that we literally have our own time zone, which is Hawaii Standard Time. That means coordinating online Zoom calls and meetings becomes a struggle because I'm just starting my day when people on the East Coast are wrapping up their day. Overall, Hawaii is a very, very special place to me, and it's such a cool place to live. I wish everyone could come here and visit at least once in your lifetime. And on that note, Budget Live Save or Tia asks, I'm planning to take my kids to Hawaii for the first time in 2024. I would like to use points to cover most or all of the hotel stay. Where do you recommend we stay? Thank you, Tia. You didn't mention which island specifically, but I'm going to assume you guys will be visiting Oahu. If you want to be away from town and Waikiki, your best bet is to stay around Ko'olina. The only problem with that is that the Marriott Ko'olina Beach Club is pretty much your only option on that side of the island. The other notable hotels around that area are the Four Seasons and Aulani, which is a Disney hotel, and you can't use normal credit card points to stay at either of those places. If you're willing to pay cash, I would recommend staying at Aulani or the Four Seasons over the Marriott at Ko'olina. But since you're trying to pay with points, I think your better option is to stay in Waikiki, where you have millions of different hotels to choose from. For Hilton properties, I really like the Hilton Hawaiian Village. It's a nice hotel, great for the kids, and when I did paddling in high school, my friends and I would ditch practice and actually sneak into their pool and jacuzzis. It's funny because from one of the jacuzzis at the Hilton, you could actually see our friends or classmates paddling back and forth in the water. Then with Marriott, you have more options with the Sheraton Waikiki, not to be confused with Sheraton Princess Kaiulani. Always choose the Sheraton Waikiki. The Moana Surf Rider has an older vibe, but it's pretty cool. You also have the Lalo, which isn't as kid-friendly, I would say, as the Sheraton, but it's newer and slightly more modern. And of course, you have the Ritz-Carlton. I don't need to say much about that one. Lastly, for Hyatt, I would say either the Hyatt Regency or Hyatt Centric would be the move. I wish you luck, Tia, on choosing the hotel you'll be staying in, and I hope you and your kids have a wonderful vacation. But if your kids do love to drink milk, I would suggest packing a gallon with you on your way down here to save a few extra bucks. Luke is wondering who wins in a grappling match between you and Stan the Credit Frog. Best 2 of 3, of course. Well, Luke, thank you so much for asking that question. It depends where our battlefield is. If it has anything to do with water, Stan, being the Credit Frog, will hands down take the win. And if it's on land, I think Stan would still edge me out, but I think it would at least go to game 3. If you haven't noticed, I am built like a cinnamon stick. The only thing I could actually grapple with is my own insecurities, and sometimes even then I don't win. Okay, back to the credit card related question. Fabio asks, is it possible to get my first business credit card without a hard pull on my personal credit? Technically, Fabio, yes, there are business cards that will not take a hard pull from your personal score. But I want to stress that all of those cards that do that are not worth your time. These are cards like the Stripe corporate card or Open Sky secured Visa credit card. No. Those are cards you want to stay away from. If you are worried about a hard inquiry on your personal credit, I would suggest waiting to apply for a business credit card. Wait until you don't have to worry about that hard inquiry, because the business credit cards that you do want will take that hard pull from your credit score. BHAGBIR510 says, what do you think about all of the Comedy Capital credit cards? Probably around 100 of them. For those of you wondering what these Comedy Capital credit cards are, they are basically store credit cards. I also think it's pronounced comenity. Gosh, I probably pronounced that wrong. Some of those stores are Abercrombie & Fitch, Bed Bath & Beyond, Victoria's Secret, and so on. Personally, I don't use them and I don't recommend them. 9 times out of 10, I don't like store branded credit cards. Some of the few branded cards I don't mind are the Chase Amazon Prime card, Apple card, and Costco card, all of which are not comenity bank cards. My thought process is I would rather take 1.5% back with a card like the Chase Freedom Unlimited as opposed to getting a comenity card for a particular store. I just value a bank like Chase way more than I do with the other store branded credit cards. If you do have a comenity card, it's not the end of the world, but I would consider looking at other options as well. FCat420 asks, best cards to combine with Ink Unlimited. I travel at least twice a year by plane. Instantly, I would say the Ink Biz Cash. Chase Freedom Flex, and either the Chase Sapphire Reserve or the Chase Sapphire Preferred. The Unlimited would give you the 1.5% cash back on everything, which is good. The Ink Biz Cash will cover your gas purchases. Then either of the Sapphire cards will handle your dining and travel purchases. Also, with the Sapphire cards, you can now use your Chase points for travel, either through the Chase Travel Portal for a redemption value of 1.25 cents or 1.5 cents per point, or you can now transfer your points to a travel partner instead. I hope that helps. Our next question is from EC, who asked, thoughts on the Bilt Mastercard? Will you be getting one? Great question, and eventually, yes, I will be getting that card. Bilt has been causing quite a commotion within the credit card scene. It's for a good reason. As of right now, if you are paying rent, you should probably look into getting the Bilt credit card. This card is truly a disruptor in our current credit card market. Not only can you earn credit card points on rent without paying the transaction fee, but you could also earn points on everyday purchases such as travel and on dining. This is important because you have to use the Bilt card 5 times each statement period in order to earn points. Then once you actually rack up your points from this Bilt card, you could transfer them to a load of different travel partners. You'll see partners such as United Airlines, American Airlines, Emirates, and even Hyatt. This right here is what adds to the huge value that the Bilt card gives you. And did I mention you get all of this for no annual fee? Long story short, yes, I plan on getting the Bilt Mastercard eventually, and I probably should make a dedicated video on this card as well. Thank you again for your question, EC. Matt Welter asks, are you currently full-time YouTube? If so, what does a typical day-to-day look like for you? Yes, Matt, I am fortunate enough to be able to do this currently full-time along with my other social media, which I'll talk about in a second. On a typical weekday, I try to wake up at 8:30 a.m., then eat a light breakfast like Honey Nut Cheerios or peanut butter on toast. Then if I'm in the right mood, I work out in my garage for about 45 minutes or so and drink an Optimum Nutrition Whey Isolate Chocolate Bliss Protein Shake. I've tried so many different flavors, and this is one of those flavors that actually stuck with me because I'm not a picky eater, I would say, but most of the protein shakes don't taste that well, but this one does. So that's part of the reason why I drink it. It may not be doing much because, I mean, as you can see, right, I'm a cinnamon stick, but it tastes good and makes me feel like I'm doing something productive, right? So that's why I drink it. After that, it's usually around 10:30 or 11 a.m. So I take a quick shower and start working on tasks for the day. Those tasks could range from responding to emails, scripting, filming, editing, idea generation, making short form content, etc. There's pretty much always something that I could do. I then have lunch around 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., then get back to work until dinner time at around 6 p.m. After dinner, I shower and either finish work or relax by playing video games with my friends, reading a book, watching YouTube, or watching anime. And that's pretty much a normal, typical weekday for me. CJ is wondering, what was the most challenging thing you had to overcome to grow your YouTube channel? Oh wow, to be honest, CJ, I think being disciplined has and continues to be the most challenging thing that I need to overcome. See, I have ADHD and procrastinate a lot. That means for me to not cram a task at the very last second, I have to start things early. But at the same time, it's hard for me to start things early because I think I have so much time to finish it, so why do I need to start early? It's just a vicious cycle, and that's why I have to be as disciplined as I can and just start. So my best tip, at least for anyone who's undisciplined or struggles with procrastinating and stuff like that, is to just start. Just think about writing a script for 5 minutes and you'll end up writing it for an hour or two. Spencer Johnson asks, I'd like to hear more about how you found the success you have on other platforms other than YouTube. What's your secret? Spencer is referring to my TikTok and Instagram, which I post short form content on. If you haven't seen any of it before, maybe it's worth giving it a shot. But be warned, because not everything on there is credit card or travel related. I wouldn't say I'm successful by any means because it's still a work in progress. But what helped me was to post a bunch of different stuff until something stuck. And for me, that was making car affordability videos. In those videos, I talk about how much you have to make in order to comfortably afford a certain car, like a Toyota Camry, a Hellcat, Lamborghini, and so on. After those videos started to build traction for some reason, I then started to experiment with skit-like videos house affordability videos, and so on. For short form content in particular, I think what helped was making and posting a video every single day of the week. It 100% is a numbers game. Also, keeping track of trending audio and other trends, then tying them into your niche and type of content is important as well. I think those things, for the most part, was what helped me to get to where I am today. Finally, we have a question from C, who asks, what is the most controversial, lighthearted opinion you have? Not sure how controversial this is, but whenever I am at home or at a friend's house, etc., I pee sitting down. It's just 10,000 times more comfortable, and I could go on my phone or do something else while I pee. I don't have to worry about aiming or splashing all over the place. Of course, don't get me wrong, in any public restroom, I am standing up and peeing all day. Guys, if you haven't tried it out, I would highly suggest giving it a shot. It's worth it. Another semi-controversial opinion is that cereal should be eaten dry. Even as a kid, I did not mix my cereal with milk. I would drink milk on the side, but I wouldn't put it in my cereal. Fast forward to today, and I don't drink milk at all. Not just because it's expensive in Hawaii, but I just don't like the taste anymore. That way, it's even easier for me to eat my cereal dry because I just have it with a side of orange juice or plain old water. So when I mentioned earlier that I eat Honey Nut Cheerios for breakfast, I'm eating it raw. There is no liquid going inside of it at all. All right, that was the last question that you guys asked me. I genuinely enjoyed making this video, and I hope you all enjoyed watching it. I'm gonna look forward to making more videos just like this in the future. If you didn't like this type of video, then you can watch a normal video here where I talk about how to get the most value out of your credit cards. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Shoots.